In this opportunity, From Havana meets Gabriel Reyes, also known as Casabe, a Cuban artist who doesn't believe in labels and that has been shaking stages with alternative rhythms and technological instruments, proving that Casabe tastes good with almost everything. Thank you for receiving us for our special interview from Havana. How should I call you? Joel, Casabe, Gabriel, how should I call you?
Well, I think I should thank you for thinking of me as someone you should visit, and I think you should call me wherever you want. You know, you just pick. How would you call me? Let's do this.
I will call you Casabe then.
Okay, so if you call me Casabe, I have to tell you, I am totally on fire. We are in Cuba, so I'm going to do this right now. Just wait a second. Okay. This way. Okay, now I'm ready. And because I am totally on fire, I'm going to do this also. You know? Okay. Now
we can start.
We can start.
Okay. To start then, because I'm going to call you Casabe from now on.
Okay.
Casabe is a traditional dish from our Taínos, original aborigines of
Yes.
Cuba and other parts of the Caribbean.
Uh-huh.
And your project and yourself go after this name, as Casabe. Why is that? Why Casabe?
Well, I think it's a very important part of our culture, and it needs to be more known for, I think, even for ourselves. As a native dish, as a Spanish people called us the casabe bread, when it is not casabe bread, it's casabe. The bread is a bread and casabe is casabe. So that's something I'm defending, and I think that it's important to bring awareness about casabe as a root, as part of our roots, and it's important also to think about the noble thing about casabe. Casabe is a noble dish because it you may say it has the possibility of mix with everything you would want to add to it, and somehow my music is like that.
In a country where salsa, rumba, son, cha-cha-cha are the popular rhythms that we usually hear and are most known abroad, why electronic music?
Well, first of all, I think that I should tell you that my music is very much like me, and I think, as Martí said, that a man should be a man of his time, and this is my time, and my time in the 21st century, today in Cuba, it implies to use, to have in my surroundings everything I can have to create. Electronic music is in a way part of it. It's not the whole thing. It's a tool. It's a form that I can use to achieve, let's say, not easier, but in a more straight way to the place I wanna go. So electronic music is part of my surroundings. It's part of a universal culture, and it's important for me to mix all of this in order to show the way I think, because I think the most globally I can.
How does your music fits with with the new generations of Cubans? How does it compete with genres like salsa, rumba, and of course this new phenomenon, reggaeton?
I think electronic music or any music doesn't compete with anybody or any of these genres. I think it adds only a new flavor. It's another flavor, so you can pick. You can choose what you want to taste, to feel, to live. And in that case, I think that all these genres can live together with no problem at all.
How it dialogues with young generations?
I think it dialogues because it responds to new ways of dialogue. It responds to new sounds. It responds to new energies. We are living in a century in which the digital era is rising on a big scale. So it responds to this dialogue with what you can do in electronic in a program for producing your music, and it's coming to be a very common, a very comfortable sound, you know. And I think that young generations has this feeling, and each time has his own feeling. In the 60s, there was rock and roll. So now electronic music is in a way that feeling, that emotion. We'll see what happens next.
Does that have something to do with, like, for example, it is said that Cuban artists are musicians are very talented, and we were speaking before, we were talking earlier about this talent that sometimes is limited and is not seen as you were saying, in a wider spectrum. Why is that?
I think it's very important because it's part of a dialogue which the way I see it, we need to have, we need to maintain with the world, with our surroundings. It's very important to keep in mind that we have some essential parts in our culture which I respect and even I bring into my music because it runs through my veins, you know. But it's important to know that talent and capability of our people is always on the rise. It's rising. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of being Cuban, you know, very proud. And that's something I try to cherish. I try to show, but I try to show this proud the way I look at us as capable people, as people which can who can get to the world in a lot of ways with this music, or with this music. I think it's important to honor the way that you can always be growing up. And if you are forming, you are creating, you are conceptualizing the culture every single second. So our essence, our culture, I think it's growing all the time. And it's important to keep that in mind, because if we are looking forward, if we are looking to the future, I think the future is waiting for us. But it's waiting for us, and we have to get on the track to get to the future.
Is that track the young generations, as I was asking you before? And do you think that is electronic music accepted in this moment in Cuba? It is seen with good eyes?
I think it is. I think electronic music it's having a huge impact, but also I think that it should be music produced, made for Cuban people. Most of the music, I think that most of the music which is it's been known, or the even the DJs or the producers are showing in their nights or wherever they work, is music from abroad. It's music that we are having as receptors, you know. And I always think about ourselves as emissaries. I think we should be emissaries of music, and even this popularity which electronic music has today in Cuba is because of music from outside. And I think it's a step, but we need more. We need more from us. We need Cuban people see that and feel that they have their own defenders, their own producers, their own musicians, which can create music of this genre or this another genre, but from here. And that's part of what I'm doing, and what I'm defending. My music in this context, and yes, it's a way that shows that it can be done, and I encourage to people outside our country and people inside our country all the time that we need to produce, we need to do it.
About you as a musician, you're not only a musician, you're an artist in a wider sense.
Well,
You studied painting, then you studied you're audiovisual producer
uh-huh.
and a musician. How was possible that evolution? How you came from being a painter, from being a producer, and now a musician? How is that evolution possible?
Well, I think that I have a very restless mind, and and all the time, since I have recall of me, I've been trying to communicate in a way. I've been trying to find the tools to speak, to to dialogue with a lot of people, and I think that coming from the painting manifestation, and after directing and creating my own audiovisuals, which I studied, and finally music, they are all part of this big need of finding ways of touch, of dialogue with different feelings, which suddenly you can come from here, or you can come from here, or you can come from here. Art is connected in his whole extension.
But sorry I interrupt you, but from those arts, from those influences,
Uh-huh.
music is the only specialty that you didn't study.
Yes, because I think when music has been with me for a long time, even when I was in my mom's belly, because she is a singer and a great composer, and my pride, and music has been with me all along, all the time, and I think that feeling is what feels now correct, because music has a magic undescribable for me. I feel through music, and I laugh through music, and I know I can express through music in a way which no other language can. Is the way I feel. Bono said in an interview that music often is more eloquent than words, because
Why is that?
because people somehow just hear, just listen at the music, and they don't know how to express what they're feeling. But music just says what they want to say, and that's very important for me. Even Einstein, he thought and he wrote about dreaming about music, and music has this magic which I don't know, is part of me, I think, and it is for me a sincere way of speaking.
Is that relationship with music and those other arts, the painting, the filmmaking, uh, what define you as a musician, of how you conceive yourself?
Well, I see myself as a creator, which needs who needs to communicate, and I've been looking, I've been searching for these tools, these ways of speaking with others. So people can say I am a musician, an electronic musician, a DJ, a singer, a composer. I've been heard a lot about the way they can see me. But what I can tell you is that I am barely a guy who is trying to use everything around, everything he has known and he knows, to share and to give a lot of love on fire. And that makes me know, it just leaves me no space for these labels, you know. Is for me it's even a big for me it's like it's a big challenge to all the time being thinking about myself as this or that. So I don't try to respond to those questions, because I know there will be people which have some feelings, some thoughts about it. And I expect that those people have their own opinions, but before they should listen my music and what I propose. And then I don't care. Actually, really, what I want is to share what I do.
You are saying that from where you came from, we're talking about where you came from. So in 2014, you introduced yourself in that movement of electronic music. And you are part of this contest Pro Electronica. Who were you in that until that moment, and who are you now?
Well, that's a very difficult question to respond, because I don't like to speak about myself too much. But I can tell you that at that time I was a young Cuban guy who was trying to experiment with electronic music, and that's it. I was trying to give some sense to this I had in my head. Today, I've been traveling, so I've been traveling a path to get here, in which I think is no longer an experiment. Is now actually is now having form in my head, that I have something to say, and I have now means to do it. So right now I'm simply an artist who knows that can do some things, and have these all tools in order to do that. and that's my passion now, that all that knowledge comes to this point. My previous knowledge and everything I've been bringing to this very moment, and that makes me very happy because I feel that I can do things that I have in my head much easier. I think that's more or less.
In one of the first interviews that you gave back then, in this case to Telesur,
Mhm.
you were saying that the music you were proposing, it was another way to get to the people.
Yes.
Which way was that?
I think it's a way of I think it's a very sensitive way. It's a very sensorial way because our perceptions are everything to us, you know. And when we approach to this music in which sounds and atmospheres and feelings are very much in the front. I think that simply resumes that this is another angle of communicating. You can be more sensorial. You can be more about feeling, and Cuba knows about that. We have bolero, and our boleros they are about feeling. But I think it is in a way a kind of upgrade of this feeling.
I'm on Fire is your first and only album till the moment.
Yes.
Even though 2 tracks have made it to the screen, you are not that known in the musical circuit in Cuba. Why is that?
Well, I think I'm just getting started. So it's a matter of time, you know. I think that with my proposal, my artistic proposal, it's very actually I'm very happy because the results we've been having till this moment has been with no wide let's say a campaign about Casabe and what we are doing. This my first album, I'm on fire because I'm on fire all the time. Estoy on fire. And this is the moment in which we actually are going to start showing what we do, because even is our first album with the Grem, our most respected record label here in Cuba. We are going to start, let's say, a movement of showing what Casabe brings. And in this small period of time, we actually got 2 nominations in a very prestigious festival here in Cuba, which calls Cuba Disco. And that is very encouraging to move on and to keep going, because what we are doing, what I'm doing, just it takes a lot of me, but it feels good to do it. And if people doesn't know yet, I think they will. But they will not because I want to. They will because it's something which is growing at the same time in which our country is growing.
People got to know you after one of those tracks in that disc, a collaboration with Buena Fe and Moncada, Gallo de Pelea.
Yes.
That in a way raised you up, as we were saying. One of the phrases that you sing in that song is that you knew where to go. Mm-hmm. Where are you going?
Well, I'm heading to a place I've seen in dreams, to a place in which I believe totally. I'm going to a place where a better world is possible, and my music certainly, I hope so, forms part of it. I'm heading to a place in which people can laugh, dance, love, and be certainly on fire with my music. And not only my music, because I'm one part of the world, but I certainly believe that what I'm proposing is honest, and being that, and in a world we're living today, that honestly, that honesty, that feeling, that noble feeling, I guess it will find a place in the soul of the people which is going to listen Casabe, because Casabe can just mix with everything. You can add it what you want. You can add it pork, you can add it some beans, you can add whatever you like. Actually, what would you like to add to Casabe?
Let's add some from Havana.
I think that it's perfectly mixed, because this is the way we are, and as I told you before, I'm heading to a place in which I hope that things that comes from Havana, from our Cuba, evolves and also gets there.
Thank you very much for receiving us,
Thank you.
for letting us know a little bit more about you and your work.
Thank you.
And let's meet again sometime soon.